Welcome, welcome, welcome. New traders. What up, 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 what up? What's going on, folks? It's the new trader orientation. You're either new to real life trading or you're new to trading in general, but welcome everyone. I'm just here to answer questions. I do have a slide presentation in case we really need it. You know the mission here at Real Life Trading. Our mission is to enrich lives. I want to enrich your life. I want to answer questions. I want to make sure that you're comfortable, that you have what you want, that you have what you need. I will answer some questions that you don't have, but hopefully for the next 30 minutes or so, I'm going to here just answer questions that you do have. So throw them in the chat pane. What you got? What you need for me? Need for me or from me? It can be anything, any question at all. I will answer it with no fear or hesitation. Sergey says, money. That's right. Emily Young is in the building. What's going on? Beth, Andre, how's it going? David, what up? Michael C, Michael M, Mohammed Moy, Nancy, Scott B, Tara McCool is here. Victor, Tyler, VJ, Zeus. What questions do you have for me, team? Sergey says, I kept missing these. Quick recap. Oh boy, recap. Man, what was the recap? So I guess the initial recap was everything you need's on your website. So go to reallifetrading.com, and I pretty much just walked everyone through using and logging into the website. It was the quickest recap. Yeah. So it was like, just make sure to use the website, go to reallifetrading.com, go to your dashboard, and everything is there. We have all kinds of stuff for you. So if you, all of your free resources are here. Trading journal, trading plan, the June challenge. This is really, really useful. That's super, super useful, I think. The day trading weekly options course. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff on here. So go through all of it, get all you want, get all you need, but that's pretty much the quick recap. Just walking everyone through that. Victor says, question, how much percentage should I put back for taxes on profits? Taxes on profits. Good question. I mean, I would worry more about trading for profits than taxes specifically. But here's what I do, and here's what I've done for a while, is whatever money I make, I take out 50% of that money, and I take that 50% and I put it into cryptocurrencies, and then a year down the line, I use that money for taxes. I'm not saying that's the right way to do it. That's just what I've done. And then I pay the taxes on those gains as well. But that's what I do, is I take out 50% of whatever I make and put that into, and just put that in for taxes. Yeah. So however else you want to play it. So when I say 50% of what I take out, right? So if you take out, I don't know, $2,500 in a month, 50% of that $2,500 pull out, right? So $1,200 and some change. I take that, put it into cryptocurrencies. I trade it actively, Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum. And that's always treated me really well. I'll say always. I mean, it's only been around for like, what, 4 years, 5 years? So it hasn't been that long that I've been doing it, but yeah, it's a good question. And Victor, did you get the email and the video with Mr. Savage from his law firm? If you have any really, really, really specific questions, you could also ask him. If you have questions about taxes, you can do a quick consultation with him and just kind of get an idea of what he thinks. Mike says, I think the hardest thing for me right now is hesitation. Victor says, what video? So Victor, we sent out a video Sunday with an interview with a tax professional. It was the interview. It's also on our YouTube channel. So here you go, Victor. I'll put it in the chat pane right there. So feel free to watch that video. You can also schedule a consultation if you would like to. It's free. There's the link. So if you have very, very, very specific tax questions, ask him. All right, Mike says, I think the hardest thing for me right now is hesitation. What helps you get through the indecision entering a trade? I see the setup and I second guess. I saw the hammer today with Tesla and I hesitated. I'm taking some trades, but I feel like I hesitate too much. Great question, Mike. The thing that helps me the most with hesitation is planning the trades in advance as best I can. Now, obviously it doesn't always work, but that's what I strive to do. Or that's just my goal. So for example, could you have said on Sunday, if Tesla does this, then I'll do this? Right? Sunday night, you could have said, if Tesla has a bullish gap up on Monday, then I'll look to play it bullish with XYZ type of setup. And that helps with your hesitation. The challenge just comes from scheduling those sit-down sessions. And usually I do that in the afternoon room. So spend an hour a day, depends on how often you're trading. But if you spend an hour a day just going through your trades and going, okay, if this happens, this is what I'm going to do. That doesn't mean that you're going to be right, but you're prepared for it. You're planned for it. Because Tesla on Friday was a perfect doji. It was a really, really nice high wave doji. We all know the trend on Tesla is bullish. So it was a very simple, if it gaps down, be a little bit more bearish. If it gaps up, be a little bit more bullish, because the trend is bullish and you gotta have a nice little high wave doji. And there are some traders who did make some really good money on Tesla today. So this is the 5-minute chart, right? You had a beautiful breakout this morning of your bearish candle right here with good volume. So here's the initial breakout. And then all it did was trade right back down to where it started to trade earlier today, and then it bounced. So it came down to the exact same price twice, 14.20, Craig Levine. Come on, man. 14.20, what an easy price. So that's where you just simply have to go, okay, this is my plan in advance, and remind yourself that the best places to buy are usually the most uncomfortable. So if you're scared, if you're uncomfortable, if you're terrified, if you're worried, those are the best places to buy generally. And it really helps when you come up with a plan. So even if you didn't do it Sunday, Mike, you could have done it over here, right? First 30 minutes of the market open, you could have said, okay, if Tesla comes back down to that support, I'm going to buy it, and then I'm going to put my stop really far away. So that's step 2 that will help with the hesitation, is put a stop like 1.5 miles away, just so you're in the trade and you take it with small size. A lot of traders have to practice that whole buy low, sell high mentality, buy without a lot of information. Most traders want to get in bullish up here when everything is extremely clear to get in. And I'm not saying that's always a bad thing to do. I'm just saying that you usually miss the move at that point. So if it does help, number 2, right? Number 1 is plan ahead as far as you can. Number 2 is trade with really wide stops. And then number 3 would be just trade with very small size. If you have a problem hesitating, that might mean that you're just scared of losing money potentially. And trust me, man, it's not like I don't hesitate, but I generally set up all my trades in advance before they even happen. So I set everything up automatically, so I'm not even there to watch it. And that's one of the things that has helped me not hesitate, is plan the trades in advance, set the trades up in advance, plan what I want to do, take them with small size, have a really, really far away stop, and then just practice getting in. And as you do it for the next 1.5 years, the hesitation will go away, but the fear won't. And that's okay. I still have fear when I take a trade, like, oh man, I'm wrong, I'm an idiot, I'm gonna lose money, I'm a giant stupid face, but I still take the trade because I have to. So the fear probably won't go away initially, and it's okay if it doesn't, but the hesitation will eventually go away. And then as you increase the size of the risk, then the hesitation will kind of creep up again, and you just gotta slowly work through it. It's a great question, man. Great question. Sergey says, I loved playing a bunch of swing trades on Friday at support levels. Kept reminding myself, you said it does not feel good to buy without confirmation. But huge names like Apple bouncing off the 50 SMA is in a way confirmation. Yeah, I mean, confirmation can mean different things to different people. But I agree with you, Sergey. This is a phenomenal buy spot on Apple. I mean, just a good pullback to the 50. So, yep. Again, it just comes down to really, really identifying and planning ahead of time why you want to do something and where you want to do it. So if Apple's over here, you say to yourself, man, if this thing ever pulls back to 360, I'm going to buy some. Then you're absolutely right. It can help a lot to have that just kind of pre-planned, predetermined, and pre-set up in your broker. Sergey says, how is putting your money into cryptos beneficial? Trading cryptos for taxes, is there any benefit? No, it's just volatile, and I like volatility. That's really it. Bitcoin, honestly, man, moves on average like 5% a week up and down. So I can capture those moves because I'm a really good trader, right? So you can go long and short crypto. I normally only go long, but I go long and short. I buy low and I sell high, and I just kind of repeat that process over and over. And I take breakouts, I take double bottoms. The patterns in the charts and the candles, they all work the exact same. Mike says, for us noobs, what would be a good stock screener to use and what settings? Finviz is a really good stock screener. So I would use finviz.com and go to screener, go to all. And you can really play around a lot with this, but what I like to do is go to pattern and type in double bottom. And you'll get a lot of potential stocks to go through. So you go, okay, double bottom, type in the pattern, right? Then you can also come over here to average volume and make sure it has good volume. So over 500,000, that'll clear a few away. And then if you want to make sure that it has options, you can do optionable. That'll take some away. And then you can add any other one that you want on here. I really like if a stock has good sales. I think that's important to companies. So if you come over here, Mike, and you turn on sales quarter to quarter and just make it positive, or let's say over 20%, that'll really reduce the amount of stocks. And then you can get a list of stocks that, and just kind of scroll through and find it and see if you like any of these. So let's see, TNK has a potential double bottom. Looks like the pressure is building. I actually did look at TNK the other day in some trading rooms. So TNK trying to get a little bit of a double bottom, but just earnings are right around the corner. So what I would say, Mike, is use FinViz and just don't be afraid to break it because you're not going to break it. So go in there, pop around, practice some stuff, and rock it out from there. Mark says, how long have you traded cryptos and what cryptos do you trade? I mostly trade the big three, Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Ethereum. And I've traded them since they were around. So Ethereum, I've been trading Ethereum on Coinbase since it was available. So my cost basis on Ethereum was $11. So pretty lucky, but it worked out well. Just sheer luck being at the right place at the right time. So I've been playing Litecoin and Ethereum since they came out on Coinbase, and I've been playing Bitcoin for a while. This one I also got lucky. My cost basis on Bitcoin is 250. So again, don't think that I'm cool. I got real lucky, man. So I've been playing Bitcoin since 2015, 2016, pretty actively. I do have a cryptocurrency course in case you guys ever get really, really bored and want to go through it. So I have a course on it. Tyler says, how long do you recommend day and swing trading shares before you start to trade options? A while, honestly. The trading options thing, there are some strategies that are really good for trading options. Like covered calls or put sales, I think you could do pretty early on in your option trading career. Or buying very, very long-term calls, I think could also be a pretty easy one. I would say for a while, man, at least a year. Give it a year and some change. Make some good money trading shares. If you want to do any kind of option strategy, do covered calls. I think that one makes the most sense. It's pretty hard to mess up covered calls. Man, look at this monthly chart. Look at this chart on Bitcoin. Man, it's going to start rampaging. Mike says, I love covered calls. Me too. Me too. Speaking of, here's your mRNA, Mike. Good little gap today. Emily says, what are the best ways to grow a small account under 25,000? Good question, Emily. So my personal opinion, let's say I have a $5,000 account. I find one unbreakable basket, right? One company that I know for sure will not be at zero in the next year, hands down. Number two, the stock is generally in an uptrend or it's in a really, really good buy spot. I take all my money and I put it into that company at a good price. And then I hold it for a while and then I sell it when it's a little bit higher, and I just repeat that process over and over and over again. So an example, for me, Netflix. If I had $5,000, I would take Netflix, I would buy Netflix here, and I would sell it here. And you'd only be buying 10 shares, but that would be $1,000 gain on Netflix. If it went from 460 to 560 with 10 shares, that's $1,000 every day. So now you have $6,000. Now I take out $6,000 and I go put it into another unbreakable basket, Facebook or Apple. And I buy that at a really good price, or Disney. And then I take that, I grow that from 6 to 7. Then I take out 7 and I re-put it into something else. AMD, Micron. Now I have enough shares to do 100 shares. I start learning covered calls. And then I will sit in those 100 shares and do covered calls until I get called away for a profit. And if I get called away for a profit, which happened on AMD. So if you're buying 100 shares of AMD anywhere in here and you get called away up here, that was around $1,000 profit. So then you take 7, you turn that into 8 and some change. So, right, so you grew $5,000 into $8,000 in the course of a year. That's amazing. I mean, that's a 50% return. Like, that's huge, you know? And then you do the 8,000, you repeat that exact same process until it gets into about the $25,000 mark. And then you can split that $25,000 into 2. And you start doing 2 unbreakable basket trading. And during that time you're learning how to not only grow your account, but grow your net worth and grow your mind, grow your bank account. You start reading, you start coming up with ways to grow your money. You start asking for more money at work. You become more time efficient. You figure out other things to do with money. Just start selling things, start stacking cash, working some overtime, whatever it takes. And then eventually your account's at 40 grand. And then once it's at 40, you can start doing some really, really cool stuff. 100,000 liquid. That is the mark that everyone should try to strive for. You get 100,000 liquid, that can change your life. Once you get $100,000 liquid, my friends, you can do a lot in this world that you don't think is possible. 100,000 is a good mark to get to, and it can get there. You can get there with $5,000. It will take 4 to 5 years of hard work, but it can be done. But once you're there, that's freedom. You now have choices. You have a lot of choices once you're there. Does that answer your question, Emily? Mark says, how long do you hold trades? It depends. I generally hold most of my trades less than 2 months on a massive average. 2 months or less. VJ says, do you do that in an IRA? Absolutely. Yeah, I have an IRA. Yep. Definitely. I will do that in an IRA. Yeah, Mark. So I would say 50% of my trades, Mark, are day trades because I love day trading. 45% of my trades are short-term swing trading, and then 5% are long-term investments. Not like in my portfolio, just like how much time I spend on them, like how many trades I'm in. Because when I'm in a long-term trade like Square, it's like, what are you going to do with it? I'm just in it. You buy it, you accumulate it, you own it, you're in it for a while. you know? Tyler said, you mentioned moving most of the cash in the markets when they hit all new time highs. Does that include your long-term investments? Generally not. Generally not. If SPY gets back up to here, let's say 370, I probably will go all into cash, everything, if it happens between now and the end of August. So if we trade all the way up to 370 between now and the end of August, Tyler, that would just be too quick, too fast, too parabolic for me. So I will go into 100% cash in everything that I own other than cryptos. I'll be at 100% cash if we get to 370 on the SPY before the end of August. If we get there slower, like we just kind of like methodically hang out and like eventually get up there, I can hold. That's fine. But yeah, if we just rampage Jackson all the way up there and do something like that, I'll go into cash because then we'll have a little bit of a pullback, and I'll just recycle it again. Good question, man. VJ says, if the market drops a lot after you buy it, do you just hold until it goes to your target? Depends on the time frame. So if it's a swing trade, no, I get stopped out. If it's a day trade, no, I get stopped out. If it's a long-term investment, yes. I'll start hedging with options. I'll usually buy protective puts. I mean, Pinterest is a great example of that. So Pinterest has been dropping really hard in COVID, and I bought a lot of Pinterest over here. I sold it up here for a profit. And what do you guys think? Did I buy my Pinterest back again over here? The answer is yes, I did, right? Did it once, I'm gonna do it again. So, you know, then I dollar cost averaged some. I bought some protective puts. I was hedging. So I was hedging through all of this effectively. I mean, buying puts, selling calls, buying more shares, buying puts, buying more shares, dollar cost averaging, so on and so forth, legging into it and pretty much creating a cost basis of zero. Saying, okay, if Pinterest goes to zero, I'm going to lose like 34 R's. But if that doesn't happen, then, you know, could. Beth says, are there rules for closing trades? Do you have to wait for it to hit the target, or should you be looking for signs of reversals? Do you have a plan set up to close the trade? Yep. So I have targets for almost every single trade that I'm in, Beth, if it's a short-term trade. So for example, Progeny, I don't have it in there right away, but usually after being in the trade for, I don't know, 2 or 3 days, I set up a target. So yeah, if it's a trade for me, I just have a target just sitting out there, good till cancel, ready to go. So I'm in Progeny. It's taking forever, but if it ever breaks this resistance, I think it's going to fly. So we did have one trader get out today for half an hour win, which is nice. Weekly chart looks really good. So Progeny, so I have a target, Beth, I guess is the answer to your question. Mark says, do you have a rule for how much or how many times you can dollar cost down? I definitely do. So when I dollar cost average down, Mark, I do so extremely small because one of the rules is never add to a losing position. That's just like rule number 1 in every stock portfolio ever. So I take that as don't add a lot to a losing position. So when I had shares of Pinterest, I mean, I'm literally buying like 10 shares a month, man. So $200, like small beans. So when I was averaging down, right, 200 shares, made some profit, sold some covered calls, bought some protective puts right here, 200 shares, $200. Down here, I did buy a little bit more because it was so super cheap. So I bought 400 shares because, it's $10 at that point. Again, 10 shares. And then this hammer came in. When that hammer came in, I was like, yeah, I think I need to buy a little bit more. So I bought 80 shares, I think, when that hammer came in. And then Doji came in, I bought another 20. And then this candle came in, and that candle came in, I bought another 20. So I just slowly add in, I leg in over time, just small size. Give it some time. And then from there, I want to make sure that the story doesn't change. right? I know that Pinterest is still a good company. I know how they make money. I know that the revenues are increasing. I've looked at their earnings. I've done some research. I've learned CEOs, CFOs, CTOs, a lot of my other investors, friends, they like Pinterest. The story still holds strong, and it's a brand new company. They only IPO'd back in May of 2019, so they've been around about a year. So I'm going to be a little bit patient until the story changes, until it doesn't become sexy anymore, until no one uses it. If their users start going down, that's when I'll kind of say, okay, let me start cutting the ties or increasing my stop loss. Right now, my stop loss is still 0. So if Pinterest went to 0, that's where I would get stopped out. But I don't think that's going to happen. Newer IPOs take a while to go to 0. They really do. I'm not saying that it can't happen, but I mean, even Fitbit, let's look at GoPro. Even GoPro is not at 0, you know? So if you have a small enough cost basis and you're not in too heavy, obviously you're getting hosed if you bought GoPro in the 80s. But as it broke support, you can see that it broke major support and just really never came back. You know, at least Pinterest is already back to where it was. So that's the good news. That does show me some strength. But GoPro just never, ever did. And their sales kept going down. Earnings kept going down. The more I asked about it, the more research I did on it, the more people I talked to about it, no one liked it. So I just didn't trade in GoPro. Good question, man. Really good question. Beth says, I'm trying to back trade and getting stopped out. And I don't think I have good exits. It's possible. What I would do, Beth, is post a video of you back trading. Post a video of you back trading if you want, and let's see it. Because it depends. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Sometimes people hold too long. Sometimes they don't hold long enough. It can be a little bit of a blend, but let's find out. What I can say is a lot of really good trades are somewhere between 1 and 3 times your risk unit, right? Because those are both fib numbers. So somewhere between 1 and 3 oftentimes are really good places to exit. So 1 R, anywhere to 3 Rs, those are usually good places to exit. All right. Craig says advanced training course. He spends a ton of time on the dollar cost average. Thank you, sir. Mark says many of my coworker teachers use Pinterest. Yeah, I think Pinterest still has some viability. I do. The one thing I know about Pinterest is the most people who are on Pinterest are women, and women are starting to make a lot of money, finally. So I'm not going to comment on the whatever disparity of the wage gap. I'm just simply saying they're making more money now, and more women are on Pinterest than men. So they're going to be starting to buy a lot more things, and that's simple. As a marketer, I mean, if you own a company or you sell something, you have a whole targeted demographic of people who are creating and purchasing your items, showing you what they want. You know, so if you're a maker of candles, you can go on Pinterest and find out who likes candles a lot and sell candles to people who like candles. They're creating boards with candles on it saying, hey, I like candles, you know? So right now I have a covered call on 80% of my shares for August at 34. And if I got called away at 34, I would be profitable. I'd be very profitable, actually. I think I'd make like 7 Rs, seven grand. I mean, which isn't bad. Yeah, it took a year, but I mean, that's not the most horrific trade of all time. And if it doesn't, I'm gonna use that covered call premium to buy another, I don't know, 5 shares and just slowly start accumulating again. And then we'll continue to accumulate and then eventually have 1,000 shares of Pinterest. And then that'll probably come by the end of the year. It'll be close. And then it can be a lot of fun. So really, my friends, that's kind of in a way a great segue, because I want to talk a little bit about the whole like trading versus investing thing. There is a difference, right? Everyone here should definitely be traders, but also you should all be investors as well. Every one of you here needs to invest in something, even if it's small amount of money. You got to pick a company and invest at least in one company. That's how you make money while you sleep. It's a really good mental gymnastics. Okay, because trading is about creating cash flow. But investing is about building up a position in one company that you understand, you know exactly how they make money, you like them a lot. And remember, if you've read my book, don't put all your eggs in one basket is a scarcity mindset. That means you haven't studied enough baskets. Like, go buy a basket that if you dropped your eggs will protect your eggs. You know what I'm saying? Don't buy shitty baskets. You know, buy a really good basket if you're putting all of your eggs in there. So do some research. Like, what kind of basket are you going to put these eggs in? Don't just put like any kind of old, just like whatever basket. Get a good one. So if you drop the basket, all of your eggs don't break. If some of your eggs break, that's okay. Some of your eggs will break, but just don't break all of them. So, yeah. But there is definitely a difference. I always recommend being some type of investor, because it makes you feel rich. It's good to own some shares. It's good to be in some positions and just let them do their thing. So this is the third of the fourth new member orientation. The next one will be next Monday as well. Feel free to share real life trading with friends, ladies and gentlemen. You can have them text the words RLT to 55444. So it'll ask you, if you text that number right now, it'll kind of say, did anyone refer you? And they can use your name. And if they use your name and you have friends that join, I'll be happy to reward you monetarily or anything else you want. If I have a trader who brings on tons and tons of traders into real life trading, I'll do everything I can to make sure that they trade profitably, help them with coaching sessions, fly them to events. I'll do anything I can to make sure that they all enjoy the greatness of the world. My thing is, ladies and gentlemen, I want all of you to succeed, not only with trading, but just with life and with money. You know, the study of money, the study of the psychology of money, how we feel about it, how we act on it, how we think about it, how we can use it to grow our personalities and our brands and our families and our goals. That's what I've studied really intently for the last 7 or 8 years. And it takes time to do anything. But I always implore everyone to be skeptical of everything that you learn or everything that you've heard. All the sayings that you've heard, like there's two sides to every coin. That's such an interesting and such a totally incorrect statement. It just kind of blows my mind. I mean, I get it. It's just a natural saying. It's like not that big of a deal. Yeah, there's two sides of every coin. No, there's three, dude. There's three sides of every coin. There's at least three. Depends on how like quantitative you want to get, but there's at least three sides of every coin. There's not two. But again, you just think that that's nothing. You're like, oh, well, that's not really that important though. But it's like, but it is. Like, imagine how many other sayings that you probably think subconsciously that are just wrong. You know? Debt is bad. It's like, no, debt's great. Bad debt's bad. Debt that doesn't make you money is bad. Debt that costs you money is bad. I have tons of debt. It's really, really, really good debt. It's debt that makes me money. I have debt with an interest rate that I can charge more than that interest rate on that debt to make more money than the debt cost me. It's like, come on. And exactly, the whole term money doesn't grow on trees. Like, that's a very popular term that gets thrown around all the time. All the time. Money doesn't grow on trees. It's like, but it fully does though. It's like, what are you talking about? Oh man, it's crazy. All right. Mike says, if you buy a call and the stock gaps up big before expiration, can you execute the contract and buy the shares before expiration? Absolutely. The answer is yes. Definitely, definitely. You can sell that option anytime you want. You can also exercise the option anytime you want. Yep. Tyler says, do you ever discuss real estate investing with Real Life Trading? Oh man, Tyler's never gone into the Real Life Trading website and typed in real estate into the search function. Yes is the answer. Yeah, bro. Go get it. A lot of good articles here, a lot of good videos. You can also type in the word HELOC and I will blow your mind. So make sure you go check that out. Also check out my podcast, Broke to Woke. We're going to start diving in a lot more into all kinds of real estate, stock investing. But yeah, Broke to Woke talks about stocks and real estate. By the way, I don't know if you guys have checked out who my girl Brittany Turner is, but she's a powerhouse of a woman. Ladies, if you want another role model in your life, she is tremendous. Forbes 30 under 30. She had a company that was generating $10 million in revenue in her mid-20s. I mean, that's a big deal, you know? $10 million of revenue in her mid-20s. Come on, ladies. Shawnee says, what was her last name? Turner. Brittany Turner. Yep. She's a very, very smart woman. Incredibly, incredibly smart. You guys want to know a funny thing? Like when we're doing the podcast, this is a true story. So we're talking back and forth in the podcast and just pull it up real quick. So this is the podcast. We were talking back and forth and she was sharing her story and then I was sharing my story. And then after the podcast was over, we're kind of talking about everything. And she's like, Jeremy, I felt so impressed by your story. Your story is so cool. Mine's so lame. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm over here. I felt like my story was super lame and yours was incredibly impressive. So we went back and forth because it's really crazy interesting. And I have two friends that have similar issues. If you hear your story, but you tell it, you're normally like, whatever. But if someone else were to tell your exact story in life, if someone sat from stage and stood there on stage or in a podcast and told your story verbatim, type in a 2 if you probably would be impressed, right? Your story, word for word. They told just how you grew up, what you did, all the things that you achieved and accomplished. And people would be like, holy smokes, you had to go through all of that. But when we tell our own story, like we just don't care. We're like, because we lived it. It's really quite weird the way that works out. But we saw that, me and Brittany saw that firsthand, where she didn't think that her story was impressive. And I'm over there thinking my story is unimpressive. It's like, they're both so intriguing. And we had such weird, wild lives and parallel universes that we grew up in. So anyway, the reason I'm bringing that up, my friends, every one of you who's listening to this, you all have a book inside of you. You all have a story. No one's more important than you. No one's better than you are with their story. No one's more impressive. We all have things that we have to accomplish. And if anything, think about creating a legacy for your kids or your grandkids or your nephews or nieces that they can read and that they can listen to and they can know who Mike was and who Scott was and who Ross was. They need to know what you did, even if you don't think it was impressive. And if it's not impressive, my friends, start making it worth impressive now. Start doing things immediately that you want to share with your kids or grandkids. If you don't think that your life is worth telling a story on, then go do it. Go do something amazing. Go create and shift experiences in your life now that you want to share with the world. When you go to a dinner party, you have to tell that particular story because it's so great. You just did this amazing thing. And then be around people who want to hear it. Be around people who truly, genuinely care. because it feels so good to just be able to share like who you really are about things. It's amazing. John says, is the podcast under the blog section? It's not, John. This is under the Apple iTunes. It's also under Spotify. If you have a Spotify account. Victor says, what does broke to woke mean? So this is my new podcast, Victor, if you want to check it out. It is the podcast. It's where we talk about the mental, magical micro moments that shape our life, from someone generally who goes from broke, which means not having any money, to woke, which is short for awakened, enlightened, or being able to see things from a different point of view. Yeah. Doug says, I was watching a Mr. Newsom on YouTube teaching about credit spreads. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Well, team, again, do you guys have any questions for me? I'm still here if you need me. But this is the third of the fourth member orientation, new member orientation. We'll have another one next Monday. Mark says, when I was young, most of my family viewed rich and money is bad, very religious, humble, poor, and godly. I never understood or believed it and always asked, if it was bad, why do you work? Mark, couldn't agree with you more, my friend. I could not agree with you more. That was absolutely without question the family environment that I grew up in. And it wasn't money that was bad. It was a lot of money that was bad. And that was a big turning point in my life, is when I realized and I started accepting the fact that I loved money, because I wanted to spend so much time with money. I wanted to do so much with money. I wanted to have more of it. I wanted to give more of it away. I wanted to build more schools, orphanages, churches, hospitals, none of those which I've done yet, but I will. And I wanted to do all these things with it. And I was like, well, man, if I have all this money around me, I must love it. But if I love money, I'm an evil person. It was that dichotomy of like, oh, can I admit the fact that I love money? Am I allowed to admit that? It's like, because I feel like I do. And once I started admitting it out loud and thinking about it and being okay with it and understanding that it just amplifies who I am as a person, man, game changer. Craig says, I love how y'all talk about growing up religious. You were taught to hate rich money because it's evil. Yeah, man. Very factual statement. My boy Craig Levine says, is there a calendar somewhere? There is indeed a calendar. So if you click on live trading, Craig, this is the calendar pretty much of, the trading schedule. So this is where everyone's going to be and where they're going to be at. That's the schedule right here. So that's under live trading, and then just scroll down. Also, a calendar is, you can go to the front page of the website, just reallifetrading.com, very, very front page. And if you scroll down, here's some upcoming events. So September 7th, we have the Nashville Trading Retreat. And then October 24th, I have the Money Grows on Trees Wealth Conference. So those are the two big things we got coming up. Michael says, do you have a date for your next live class? Not yet, but I'm working on it. It'll be in August for sure. Yeah, there will be one in August. There'll be something live sometime in August. It's either going to be Options 101, kids program, or day trading. And if I can find an additional 19 hours a day, I might do all three of them. But Options 101 and kids program are probably going to happen in August. And then day trading might happen end of August or maybe sometime in September. Yep. Michael says, who needs sleep? I'm telling you, who needs it? Who needs sleep? Sleep is for the weak. Yeah. All right, team. Well, this is good. I think I answered a lot of questions. Edward says, will you be doing another backtraining marathon this year? It's a really, really good question. If I do, are you going to be there, Edward? Here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that I will do it, but I'm gonna try to do it a little differently this year, just for fun. What I'm thinking is doing like a pledge-a-thon, where it's you don't pay anything to get in, but you pay by the hour. I have no idea if I could set that up, but it would be fun. I'm pretty much going to see how long I can go without stopping. So no food, no drink, no bathroom breaks. Like, how long can I actually back trade without stopping? How long can I talk? Is it going to be an hour? Is it going to be 30 minutes? Are people going to get a discount, or is it going to go like 9 hours? I don't know. But it would be something I would be willing to train for, man. I would legit train for that. So, yeah, man, it'd be a lot of fun. So the answer is I'm not sure. If I do it, I'll try to be creative. And if I can't be creative, then I might do another one. Yeah, it's going to be fun. Mark says, when you day trade, how do you avoid distractions? Ooh, that's a good question. I have my phone on airplane mode. I'm extremely fast when I day trade, Mark. So we'll say this. Let's go back 5 years. Because right now, dude, when I day trade, I can day trade with like bombs going off next to me. I'm so quick. I'm not bragging. I'm just letting you know I am insanely fast. Dude, I could day trade profitably in a watermelon patch with no internet, and ice cream was spilt over my computer. So right now, for anyone who needs the distraction to avoid like just messing things up, music helped a lot. So I always listened to Mozart Requiem. That was like the Symphony 40. Was what I listened to. So that was my music of choice, was always Mozart. When I day traded, and I'd always day trade the exact same spot at the exact same time with the exact same computer, and I'd wear the exact same clothes. So I had multiple clothing. I'd buy 5 or 6 of the exact same, t-shirts, and that's just all I would wear. So I didn't have to think about anything. I know that sounds stupid, but it is what it is. So I would just wear the exact same clothes. I would eat the same thing for breakfast. I had a military routine, man. And that helps me a lot with the distractions. So my phone was on airplane mode. My computer was, on airplane mode. I didn't have anything else ongoing, nothing else, no other notifications. That was it. It was me, RLT, and day trades. And then before RLT, it was just me and day trades. And yeah, man, but it would still be for a very short period of time. It would be for a short period of time. So I would still get up and walk away from the computer. I would do push-ups. I would do dishes. I would go read. It was only for the first 2 hours where I was like a military robot. If you ever want 100% full-blown Newsom, for the first 2 hours of the day, I'm an absolute machine. No one can beat me at anything for the first 2 hours of the day. After that, it depends. It depends. Like how much happened the previous night before. Am I tired? Am I hungry? Whatever. But those first 2 hours, man, I'm in it. I am in. Doesn't mean I always win. Don't get me wrong. But I'm very, very focused. I'm very centered. I'm in that zone. And I think the really, really strict schedule will help a lot, Mark, with your distractions. So tell people, tell your family, tell your wife, tell your kids, hey guys, dad is in it at this point in time. I'm in. Craig says, how fast are you going to snowboard? I want to race. Craig, I will destroy you on a snowboard, dude. Bro, you don't have a chance. I will wreck you. I'm pretty quick, man. It depends. It depends on the slope. If it has good powder, I will go as fast enough to my phone thinks that I'm in a car. So I can go fast enough on a snowboard where my car is like, my phone will reply the text message, I can't talk right now, I'm driving. So I can get it, man. But yeah, we should schedule a nice RLT snowboarding trip for anyone who wants to snowboard, maybe in February of next year. Mark says, today I missed a trade and was frustrated because of it. MNOV, airplane mode, lock the door and leave me alone. Yeah, man. That's it. Ooh, you missed that trade? Oh, I didn't even see that trade. At least you missed it. I didn't even see it. Wow. I would have been upset too. If I had seen that and missed that move, I would have cried. Mark says, hey, I was upset. Yeah, dude, you should have been upset. You should have cried. Gina says, I'm almost done with Game Changers by Dave Asprey. Can you recommend another book to improve one's life? Yes, Essentialism. Essentialism by Daniel Pinkert, I think is the name of the author. Yeah, Essentialism. That's a great one. If you haven't read that one, Gina, put it next on your list. Check it out, read it, crush it. You will enjoy. All right, team. I'll be back next Monday, a week from now. If you have any questions, get them written down. I will be back for new member orientation, number 4 out of 4. So thanks, team. You guys rock. Appreciate you all being here. And until next time, love life, and trade. You guys rock. Bye.